What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am Mistress Carrie. Thank you so much for joining me each and every week right here in my war room for cocktails. And normally we meet on a Tuesday, and this is a very special Wednesday episode of Cocktails in the War Room. I apologize. I was traveling yesterday and was not able to be in the war room last night. And so Wednesday finally gets her own episode, right, Wednesday? So as always, my co-host Wednesday, the Goth Pug, has joined me here in the war room. And I thought for this very special Wednesday episode of the war room, I would try the Pug side-by-side cam. Wednesday likes to have, stop showing them your butthole, Wednesday. It's not nice. Wednesday likes to have her own camera, and we always bring in some of her favorite toys that people have sent in the mail. Tonight she's playing with the Capri Sun, or the dog version of the Capri Sun. She got the monkey in here. And then, of course, the ducking stingray has made its triumphant return. And where would we be without annoying all of your dogs and everybody in the house with the squeaking? So what's going on? How are you guys? Sorry I wasn't there last night. Chris says, hey, Mistress, I am watching The Outpost. Just wow. Yeah. If you are just now discovering that, come here, Wednesday. If you're just now discovering The Outpost, make sure that you go and listen to the podcast episode with John Hill, and then also the after action report with his girlfriend Johnny when they joined us here in the war room. Really powerful stuff, super open and honest about a lot of things. And I think they work really well as a companion piece for the movie, which I have not heard one bad review about at all. So Wednesday, are you going to sit? What are you doing? Are you just going to hang out? Okay. So Jeff says today is his 55th birthday. So I guess, Jeff, since you already started it, we'll talk about who shares your birthday. So everybody, cheers to Jeff for celebrating his birthday today. 55. He shares it with BB King, who was born on this date. Also, Richard Marx, Dave the Snake Sabo from Skid Rock, Flo Rida, and Nick Jonas, all born on this date with Jeff. So happy birthday, Jeff. Drinking out of my fine Cocktails in the War Room Moscow Mule mug. What, Wednesday? I was traveling for a while, and so I was not home with Wednesday, and she has definitely been starved for affection over the last week. So she's probably going to do some whining because I have not been paying proper attention because I've been getting the war room set up. So how are you guys? How are you guys holding up with everything? It feels like I haven't seen you in forever, and it was only one day longer than normal, but I felt so out of touch. Wife was drinking pumpkin spice mules, says Keith. I've never even had that, but it sounds pretty good. I don't think I would hate that. Let's see. All right, so Mark is asking, how's the hubby? And I suppose I should just get this out of the way. I had told you guys in the war room last week that the reason why I needed to move the war room till today instead of doing it last night was that I was going to be traveling. And the reason for my travel was that my husband, in case you missed the meeting here in the war room, my husband was getting deployed. And we were supposed to say goodbye for his deployment yesterday, which is why I was traveling and needed to pump the war room. I can tell you that, hold on, let me turn the Pug Cam back on for Wednesday. I can tell you that Uncle Sam has moved some things around. So the good news is that he's still in the United States, but not for long. So the final goodbye for this deployment hasn't happened yet. I expected to be a blubbering mess when I came into the war room tonight, and I'm not because he hasn't left the country yet. but it's definitely going to happen in the next probably few weeks. I just don't know exactly when yet. I don't know all of the details about what's going on, but that's why I'm not sitting here looking like King Diamond or Alice Cooper with makeup streaming down my face crying because he hasn't left yet. So I just want to let you guys know that I've been getting a ton of messages from all of the people that have Mistress Carrie backstage passes and people reaching out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And so I just wanted to kind of fill you guys in on what's going on. So yeah, it's good news that he's still here, but it doesn't mean he's not going. It just means that he's delayed for a couple of weeks. So I had kind of gotten myself mentally prepared for that big goodbye, which you're never really prepared for, but I guess you just prepare it the best you can. And then to have the snooze button kind of hit by Uncle Sam was a blessing in disguise, I guess. But that's all I know right now. So that's all I can really tell you. I appreciate it, Monica. She said that we're always here. Will you get to see him one more time before the deployment? Yes. All of the details on that, I still am working all of that out. But I really want to be there to be able to say goodbye to him when he gets on the plane. It's just trying to figure it all out. Kevin says, sucks, sorry. Thoughts and prayers to both of you, says Wayne. We're here for you, says Renee. I just, did you see all the false positives that came from that state? There have been a lot of conversations about the coronavirus, and part of it was, especially for people that have the Mistress Carrie backstage pass, I got swabbed while I was away over the last week and got a negative test result. And I can tell you that, we've talked about these tests in the past. For guys, if you've never had a gynecological exam, it feels like your nose is getting a pap smear. For the ladies, there's no speculum, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on with false positives, false negatives. It's just been just nuts. David wants to know, were you able to hit the P.O. box? Yes, I was. But the only thing that was in the P.O. box while I was gone was did you guys see, if you're in Massachusetts, the voter booklet that came out that has kind of all of the voter information with all of the ballot questions and the procedures for voting and all of that stuff. So there wasn't anything in there, David. So I don't know if you guys sent anything, but I know we're kind of skipping around a little bit. So I'll just put the address for the mail call, but I was able to get there today and check the mail, and there wasn't anything in there. So it's okay, Wednesday. I do like being able to turn on this side by side so you guys can see her. She just keeps coming over and bumping me with this fake dog Capri Sun package that has can you guys hear it? The crinkly. She loves the crinkles. I told you, she plays with literally every toy she has. She just gets in the mood for certain toys. And so today it's the Chewy Fun instead of Capri Sun, the dog toy. I apologize for touching my face. But she definitely has been very clingy since I got home because I was gone for a little while. So Ralph says, hey, Carrie, sorry I'm late. It's all good. Michelle says a friend of mine is sick with pneumonia in her right lung and has tested positive for COVID-19. Tell the gang from the war room, says good luck and stay safe and come home. So yeah, I mean, it's, the stories are crazy. And so the only thing we can do is not look anything weird and wash your damn hands, which has been our slogan since March 14th when we joined each other here in the war room for the first time. We need the pillow show. I know she has already kind of knocked over some of the pillows. I have a couple of them tucked behind me, but what are you doing? You have a whole camera. The least you could do is say hi to everybody. Right? So I went out in the garden today and, anybody with a garden knows that if you leave it for like a week, you come back and it's a full-blown disaster. So I went out there and was pulling some herbs and some tomatoes and peppers and a bunch of other stuff out of the garden. And I was like, where is Wednesday? And I know that just like a toddler, when they're quiet, it's probably nothing good. And she was over there and legitimately pulling green beans off of the bushes and just eating them like a goat. So what are you doing? So she's gone full goat status now because she was pulling green beans off of the bushes today. She really likes them. Nobody knows anything about green beans being bad for dogs, right? Because she was just I'm getting all these messages up here. So Wednesday was definitely grazing today. All right, we got to get back on track, Wednesday. What are you doing? Yeah, see, she's not the only one that likes the crinkle. She's dodging us. Yep, I'm harvesting some Damon dirt. What is that? Oops, your text messages are showing on the screen. I know, Renee. What can I do? Let's see. They're excited for the dogs. Oh my God, our lab loved green beans. My dog eat them too. Okay. Stacy says a text message alert just went across the top of your screen. You got to fix that. I know. I thought that I did. All right, whatever. So anyway, so that's what's going on. That's why I'm not a blubbering mess right now. And I'm just kind of hanging out at home, here in the war room, and everything is a little bit discombobulated because there's no way to make podcast announcements tonight because the podcast episode went live today. So let's fill you in on everything that I've been doing. So while I was down traveling, I went to the beach, and my friend Bobby, who is a photographer, took some photos. And so I wanted to show you the picture. She brought these awesome skulls, and I brought my wedding dress down. So that is, most times you don't get to wear your wedding dress twice. But I got to take some more photos with my wedding dress, and she brought these awesome skulls, and we were sitting over on the beach taking some pictures, which was amazing. So I want to thank her for that. And then just because I love the beach so much, I wanted to share some of these pictures of me on the beach. Oh God, I'm not ready for fall. It was so nice being further south where it's still really, really warm, and going to the beach was so nice. Okay. So last week, not only did we announce that Evanescence was going to be on episode 14 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, but then we also announced who was going to be on episode 15 because we weren't going to be in the war room last night. So you're on Amazon Music Podcast. Wait, hold on. What? Monica, the Amazon Music Podcast, it went live. I had signed up for it, but I didn't know that the Amazon Music Podcast thing had gone live. So fill me in. Christine says Sully and Aaron doing drive-in concerts next month. Yeah, Sully Erna from Godsmack, Aaron Lewis from Stained announced this co-headlining drive-in concert series that they're doing, but none of them are in New England as of right now. So that was kind of a bummer. What did you guys think of the Evanescence episode? It was a 2-part episode in case you haven't heard it yet. The first part of it was just Amy Lee and I. And then the second part of the episode is Will Hunt and Troy McLaughlin and I. And so Ash says, love the Evanescence podcast. Loved it too, says Lisa. Love both episodes. Let's see. Love the podcast, says Deborah. Really great. Were you guys diehard Evanescence fans, or did you just listen to it because you thought it might be interesting? Did you learn anything about the band that you didn't know before? I thought that Amy was super conversational and really relaxed and just seemed to be kind of stress-free, even though she's in the middle of recording her new record. And I loved going down memory lane with Will and Troy and talking about some of those old stories, including the booty bongos and the possibility of dude booty bongos as well. It made me wait for their new music and the butt bongos. Yeah, exactly. Have you tried the CBD bacon flavored oil for pets? No, I have not. That sounds very interesting. Learned lots about the band, says Ron. I loved it. I love Amy Lee, says Ralph. Psyched for new music. Genuinely nice people, says Dave. Yeah, they are super nice. Just really cool, really laid back. And it was really cool to hear not only Amy, but I thought it was really cool to hear Will and Troy really talk about what a collaborative effort it is for the band to be writing and recording new music together, and how they are all playing really important roles in the recording of this record. And that it's not just, and I even addressed it in the podcast, it's not just Amy Lee with a bunch of people playing with her. Like, each one of the members of the band is an integral part of the writing process as well, which I thought was really cool. Dude, Booty Bongo, says Debbie. Evanescence at the Odd Fest had her screaming in my face 2 feet away from me. It was fucking awesome, says Kevin. Debbie says, got my CMFT tickets yesterday. Yeah, we got to talk about the Corey Taylor live concert stream. That got announced while I was away as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on in music headlines that we will talk about as well. So let's see. John put up the link for the Amazon Music podcast. That means I'm going to have to add it to the podcast outlets because I submitted it. I just didn't know when Amazon was going to make it live. So super excited that the Amazon Music podcasts have launched, and that the Mistress Carrie podcast is up there. So that's really cool. You are not watching the ACMs. Miss you, love your cast. No, Ben. It's one of my skydiving buddies, Ben. No, I'm not watching the Country Music Awards, and I miss you as well. We got to jump soon. He's part of a group of friends of mine we call Team One Ton. We haven't jumped in a while, Ben, so you got to get on that. Ben wants to know how flying is. I assume you mean commercial flying. It's been fine. It's not a big deal. You got to wear your mask. They give you a wet wipe when you get on the plane to like sanitize whatever it is that you're going to be touching that you want to clean. So whether it be the screen on the back of the headrest or the armrest or the controls or whatever, the seatbelt buckle, the tray table, you can just kind of disinfect everything to make yourself more comfortable. Then they come by with like a pre-packaged baggie that has like a bottle of water and a bunch of snacks in it and stuff, because they're not doing any kind of exclusive drink service or meal service or anything like that. But don't be hating on country music, says Mark. It's not my bag, Mark. It is just not my bag. But traveling hasn't really been that big of a deal. I mean, it's been actually nice because the middle seats in all of the rows, they've been leaving open. So it's more pleasant of an experience other than having to wear the mask the whole flight. But I'm so used to wearing the masks now. It's like not that big of a deal. So, no, I flew Delta actually, John. So, but I fly JetBlue when I can. I mean, it's, I pick my flights more on when I need to be someplace or, when I'm available to leave and not so much on the airlines. But there are some airlines I refuse to fly just because they suck, but we're not going to go there right now. Booked my boyfriend's first skydive for his birthday on Sunday. That is awesome, Lindsay. Congratulations. And that reminds me that I want to thank the sponsors for this week's Cocktails in the War Room and also episode 15 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, Latini Creative Solutions, who you can find at latinicreative.com. They have been an integral part in all things Mistress Carrie, getting things launched since we launched the podcast and Cocktails in the War Room, all of the graphics and the artwork, and are also helping me design all of the Mistress Carrie merch that is not too far away. I know I keep telling you guys that. I will tell you that getting married and dealing with this deployment has kind of slowed things down a little bit. But I have been able to go and look at the prototype for the Mistress Carrie website and how the online store is going to be structured. And we're definitely making progress. So I'm super excited about that. So I want to thank Latini Creative Solutions for all their help with that. And also, speaking of skydiving, Jumptown Skydiving at jumptown.com. They are out in Orange, Massachusetts. And if you are thinking about making your first skydive, now is a great time to do it. It's not super hot and the scenery is beautiful. And as the leaves start to change into the fall, it's just amazingly spectacular. So you can make appointments for your tandem skydive Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and get all the details and all of the information and all of the frequently asked questions about what you need and what you can and can't do. Just go to jumptown.com for all of that. So last week I told you guys that episode 15 was going to feature my AAF to Afghanistan producer, Mike Saya, who was with me in Afghanistan 9 years ago right now. And that was part of the reason why we wanted to sit down and do this episode of the podcast at this point, because we can't believe that it's been 9 years since we were over there. I mean, it's been 14 since I was in Iraq, but 9 since I was in Afghanistan with Mike. And it's just crazy. And so, every year the commemoration of 9/11 always kind of brings back all of these memories as well, because I was in Iraq for the 5th anniversary of 9/11 and the 10th anniversary of 9/11. I was in Afghanistan. So this was a really personal episode, I think, for the both of us. We laughed a lot. We told a lot of inside stories. The planning of the trip, what it was like for him, why I picked him to go with me, what the experience was like for him. We kind of filled in some of the gaps. We talked about the blueberry cobbler, and a lot of the other inside jokes as well. And Mike also is going to come in for an after action report here in the war room, because there's a bunch of other stuff that the podcast, this one is long. But we just got to talking. He came into MCHQ and we just got to talking, and, I can't say the time got away from us, because there were just so many stories about this trip that we wanted to talk about. And so we couldn't get them all in, even though the podcast is almost 3 hours long, I think. But I think it's really fun. There are some serious moments in there, but, I always get asked questions about these trips. How did you pull it off? How did you end up going over there? What did you guys do? What was it like? And so we really wanted to record this podcast episode to kind of answer a lot of those questions. And Donna says, I cried a couple of times. It was a great episode. Thank you very much. I could use some hot blueberry cobbler right now, says Eric. Kevin says, love me some Mikey S. Me too. It just... it's solidified our friendship, we text almost every day now, just because we talk about it in the podcast, because we both love music so much. And we really weren't that close of friends before we went on this trip. We were coworkers and we knew each other somewhat socially, but this trip really made us just really, really good friends. And it was really cool to just sit down and talk about the trip and stuff. So I'm really proud of this episode. Lisa says it was inspiring. Good guy to have as a friend through my whole life, says Kevin. We talked a lot about how funny it was that a lot of the guys we ended up embedded with were guys he went to high school with randomly. He didn't even know they were in Afghanistan until we kind of bumped into them in Kabul, which was just strange. Definitely check out the episode. If you know anyone that served in Afghanistan through 2011 and 2012 in the 182nd Infantry of the Mass Army National Guard, pass this episode along to them. I really am trying to get the word out to all of the guys that this is out there so that they can hear it. Somebody just asked for the address again. Here's my address. Something coming in the mail for Wednesday, and there is the address right there. So feel free to send it. You can either send it to Wednesday at that address, or you can just address it to me. I open all the mail anyway. Eric says, just saw The Outpost, was a fantastic movie. Every time I talk to somebody about that movie, they're just like, oh my God, it was so good. Thank you for telling me about it. Now I can't wait to go and listen to the podcast. So if you haven't listened to the Jonathan Hill podcast episode, go back and listen to that and then watch The Outpost. It's really, really powerful. The movie I thought was really well done. And the podcast, I think, really kind of gives you a different perspective, because it makes you feel like you're not just watching a movie, but that you're involved because you know one of the guys that was there, because John was just so open and honest and raw about his experience and his story about how he ended up there, how he got into the Army. And some of the most powerful stuff was what life was like once he got home. And he was just really candid about things. And so, definitely, if you have not watched The Outpost yet, you definitely want to check that out. David says, I hope you enjoy what I sent you. I can't wait to get it. What is the cocktail of choice? John wants to know. Copper mugs mean Moscow mules, John. Melanie says that was a great movie. Ron says the Moscow Mule. Thank you guys for answering the questions for me. They're my favorite. They're delicious. Keith, copper mug equals mules. Be right back. Gotta put the princess to bed, says Kevin. I love that you guys have worked cocktails in the war room into your nightly routines with the kids and stuff, which is hilarious. Okay, so we talked about episode 15 of the podcast. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, if you're just listening episode by episode, definitely subscribe to the podcast. I think I'm going to make the announcement next week. There is a new feature with the podcast that is coming that I'm really excited for you guys to be able to check out. And so I think I'm going to announce that next week. I just got to get all the pieces in play and get everything where they need to be. But if you subscribe to the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll get notifications when new episodes get uploaded. The son of Mick Jagger is in that movie. There's a lot. The son of Clint Eastwood is in that movie. The son of Mel Gibson is in that movie. It's kind of crazy how all of these second generation or third generation Hollywood actors ended up in The Outpost, which is crazy. I'm still waiting for my autographed pictures of you that was stolen from me. I totally understand you're very busy, wifey. Michelle, did you not get them? Do me a favor and send me a message and fill me in on, because I know I sent them, so I don't understand why you don't have them yet. I am very busy, wifey, but I know I sent those pictures. Terrence said, how are you tonight? I had to take care of a thick toenail issue that I had. Ouch. I'm doing okay. We talked about it a little bit earlier on. The big sad goodbye didn't happen yesterday like I thought it was, which is why I'm still kind of here and happy and everything's okay. It's coming in the next few weeks. Uncle Sam kind of moved some things around and I don't have the exact timeline yet. So, Rufus says, miss your face. I miss you too. Good news on new features, says Donna. Yeah, I got some really cool stuff coming. Excuse me. Not only the website and the merch, which is definitely coming soon, but also some new features to the podcast as well. Something that I think you guys are really going to like. So speaking of the podcast, I wish I had known that Amazon was going to be up there, because now, oh, wait, hold on. Let me see if I can put this up. There you go. Just like that. Modern technology. It's amazing. So those are all the places that you can check out the Mistress Carrie podcast. Apple, Google, Spotify, radio.com, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Deezer, Overcast, Radio Public, TuneIn, Pocket Cast, and Pandora, and now on Amazon, which I'm really excited about. So let me know. Are you glowing, says Joe? No, I'm not glowing. I got some sun, Joe. Some good lighting. Let me know if you listen to the podcast on Amazon. Let me know what you think of the listening experience. I'm really curious. I knew that they were going to launch this, but I did not know exactly when. This I thought was really cool. Every week I talk to you guys about where in the world people are listening and interacting with the Mistress Carrie podcast. We had a big week. We were stuck at 80 countries listening to the podcast for a few weeks now. And the Evanescence episode just sent it in a whole, look at South America. It's insane. The Mistress Carrie podcast worldwide now in 86 countries. We got 6 countries in 1 week So we got to welcome Brunei, the United Arab Emirates, Cyprus, Monaco, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and also Luxembourg. So it's a big week. I'm super excited that so many people are checking out the podcast. Central America and South America are almost full. And, we just got to really start tackling the African continent now and filling in all of those countries that are gray, have not yet listened or been exposed to the Mistress Carrie podcast. So we got to get working on that. But I couldn't believe it when I logged in and pulled the report. I was like, holy crap. We got, Jeff, exactly. 6 more. Holy shit. That's crazy. We start virtual school tomorrow. I'll need a cocktail tomorrow too, says Kathy. Good luck with that. You can use the Mistress Carrie podcast as your geography lesson. More rapidly spreading than COVID, says Ben. Thanks, Evanescence. We'll take those 6 countries happily, says Brianna. Exactly. Lou says 86 countries, tremendous. World of Dick, says Dave. 86 nice. Welcome to the new family member, says Donna. We're slowly taking over the world, which I'm super proud of. So, all right, let's talk about some of the headlines in music. There's a lot of stuff going on. Kanye is just in the middle of a full-blown meltdown right now. He built a wall around his house, which is ridiculous. He even blocked off his own driveway. He has asked Drake and Taylor Swift to retweet him. This is just in the last few hours. He peed on his Grammy and put it in the toilet. And he also leaked images of his Universal Music contract, which I'm sure is just, I'm sure a C&D is coming because I'm sure there's non-disclosure stuff with those big giant contracts. Dee Snider is blasting those anti-maskers that took over the Target in Florida because they were blaring, "We're not going to take it." And Dee Snider not happy about it. Dave Grohl and Nandi Bushell. Have you guys seen this drum battle between Dave Grohl and the 10-year-old drummer Nandi? He has been giving her songs to play. She's been videotaping herself playing those songs and raising the bar. And then Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters wrote Nandi a theme song and put a badass drum line in there. And she is vowing to continue the drum battle back and forth, which is amazing. Nine Inch Nails announced that the 1996 soundtrack for the video game Quake is going to be released on vinyl. So if you're a Nine Inch Nails fan like I am, I thought you would want to get that. Corey Taylor announced his live stream concert, Forum or Against Him, which is going to be live from the LA Forum, live streamed on October 2nd. You can get your tickets. People were talking about it earlier in the War Room that they already secured theirs. You can get it at watch.coreytaylor.com. He is, of course, going to be playing a lot of music from CMFT, his new solo album that is going to be out in full by then as well. So go to watch.coreytaylor.com if you want to secure tickets to go and watch that exclusive live stream. Daryl McDaniels, Bruce Springsteen, and Billy Joel are all in the trailer for the new Harry Chapin documentary. Lejean from Seven Dust ended up in the emergency room, not with a bizarre gardening accident, unless he was using his Swiss Army knife to do some gardening, but he cut the shit out of his hand with a Swiss Army knife and ended up in the ER. I don't know exactly what he was doing, but if you go to LJ's social media pages, especially his Instagram, he put some pictures up and stuff. And of course, what is being billed is the only Seven Dust concert of the year. Their live concert stream is happening on October 23rd, and you can go to sevendust.com to get all of the details on that. Let's see. Eric, for real, I'm not a fan, but I feel bad. What is going on? Vinyl outsold CDs. Yeah, Joe, I saw that as well for the first time since 1986 or 1993 or something like that vinyl is outselling CDs, which is crazy. John says, I love Harry Chapin. I have a signed shirt from 1980. That is crazy. Hey, Tim. Tim, we talked about you in this episode of the podcast about the airport transport getting us to and from Logan on the Afghanistan trip. So you got to check out episode 15 because we were talking about you. Let's see. Roger Waters' live album will be out October 2nd, and Pink Floyd drummer Nick Mason, Saucerful of Secrets live at the Roadhouse is going to be out on Friday. I know there's so many music headlines to go over. It's kind of crazy, which is part of what that announcement is going to be next week with the podcast. That's why you need to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Dina says, my 15-year-old has started a vinyl collection. Yes. And I've also noticed that they don't call it a needle on the record player anymore. It's a stylus now because we're super fancy with our vinyl. So if you start Googling looking for replacement needles for your old turntables because you want to dig out all your vinyl and look cool to your kids, if you start Googling replacement needles, it's going to probably take you someplace you don't want to go. So they call them a stylus now. I have two friends that are obsessed with vinyl, says Renee. Yeah, there's a ton of people that collect them. I've probably got a few hundred of my albums as well. And I've got my mom's old Beatles records, which are amazing. Although the original ones, you weren't getting them to collect them. You got them to listen to them. So all of the inserts and, everything is used and worn, and the pages have tears on them, and there's scratches on the vinyl, and the edges of the actual sleeve are kind of bent in. But Mike Shue has been a vocal vinyl supporter for years and years and years. And I just think that it's a way better listening experience. I think the audio sounds better. And it forces you to kind of slow down, right? Because you got to be around the record player. So you sit down with the album and you put on some headphones, and it really does force you to slow your world down and really immerse yourself in the music, which I love. Let's see. I used to buy my son vinyl. Now he can afford his own, says Michelle. Love hearing the crackle on the record, says Joe. 100%. Save your pennies for the record player. Yeah, they're super expensive now. They also have them where they have a USB plug, so you can plug it into your computer and you can digitize your old vinyls. So if you have stuff that's really hard to find, you can at least make audio files from all of the tracks on your vinyl as well. So Kimberly says, don't jump because you'll make it skip. Yeah. The struggles with being a kid in the 60s and 70s and early 80s. My grandpa gave me his Michael Jackson vinyl for Thriller before he died. Still have it, says Eric. That's probably worth a ton of money. I got my record player to chill the hell out, and I've been buying a lot of old 60s records. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's especially with everything that's going on with the coronavirus right now, to kind of just center yourself. It's almost like you can use the music as a form of meditation. And, you get in your favorite chair, or you get a bean bag and you set up your turntable and some good speakers, or you get a good set of headphones and you can just totally chill, which is really cool. So, Records Rock, says Michelle. Did you ever do radio on vinyl only, juggling two turntables and queuing up everything with the slip cue? I did in college. We learned how to do it in college, but when I started working at AAF as an intern, they were already using CDs. And when we made the jump from Westboro to Huntington Ave Studios, which I believe happened in 2000, that's when the computerized system took over and everything became automated, where we had the actual music vault and it was all digitized. So I only did the vinyl stuff in college, and I was pretty good at it for a while, but Kevin says, music is key. Popped my vinyl cherry with the purchase of some Van Halen, says Mark. Fantastic. Handed all of mine down to my son. He loves them. All Genesis from 74 to 86 on vinyl. The Who LPs 69 to 82. Yeah, I love the fact that it's back. And I also know that the bands love it too. Because I think they love knowing that their album artwork is going to be viewed that big. I think they love if it's got a bifold in it, that they have all that space to do more artwork or liner notes or song lyrics or just whatever. I just think it's a great creative outlet for the artists as well, instead of, just having one little thumbnail picture for iTunes or Pandora, or, having the sleeve of a CD just be this big, that they can really concentrate on the artwork again. So it's pretty good. Glass Houses was my first vinyl. Joe says Screaming in Digital. I won my first vinyl record ELO from WEIM in Fitchburg, says Becky. Oh my God. My first vinyl was the Monkees, says Michelle. I think mine was an Aerosmith record. Although I do remember fondly listening to Disco Duck on vinyl when I was a small child. So I don't know which one was first. I also remember having Foreigner 4 on vinyl when I was a kid. Cocktail Soundtrack was my first LP, says Keith. Sticks, says Renee. I wish I had my grandfather's. Yeah, I know. I mean, when you really start thinking about when CDs hit and people really looked at things like vinyl records and cassettes as being just so disposable, I can just only imagine all of the records that just got thrown in a landfill somewhere, which is heartbreaking. I don't know if the younger generation appreciates the liner notes and the art like we do, says Brianna. Yeah, but I think they are slowly going to kind of learn now because there's people like Jack White and Third Man Records that are really putting a lot of effort and energy into these vinyl products again. Debbie says the Kinks. Another Debbie says Bobby Sherman on 45. Jeff says Kiss was mine. Kiss Alive and Kiss Alive 2 were my first record, says Dawn. I hope you guys still have all of these records. I don't know if I have Disco Duck, but I'll see if I do. I remember buying, I think AC/DC, Who Made Who. I mean, I've got old like Jethro Tull stuff, old Zeppelin albums. Like I said, I've got all the Beatles ones. Oh my God. Could we see a Columbia House return, says Keith. Kids these days will not understand like for a penny, send them a penny and they'll send you all these albums. My dad has one or two. Black Sabbath Paranoid, says Tim. Kiss Destroyer, says Tom. Kiss Rock and Roll Over was my first record that my babysitter signed me up for the fan club. I was 6, says Kimberly. Hold on. The pug has returned. What do you have? Huh? Do you just want me to hold your bone for you? Look how she uses her paw like little hands. She's like, no, mommy, I want you to just hold your damn hand straight so I can eat this bone. Stop moving around so much. Right? Right? What are you doing? She missed me. Are you making weird pug noises? Yeah, I like this side-by-side thing. I don't know about you guys, but that way you guys can see the person that's still talking while being able to focus on all of the fuzzy cuteness on the green couch here in the war room as well. Kevin says, Houses of the Holy. My first recording was when I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, says Charlene. My mom gave me the Monkees' greatest hits record, though by the time I got into rock in the 90s, that era was pretty much on hold. I loved the Monkees. I absolutely adored the TV show. I loved all the music as a kid. Nikki 6 signed my Too Fast for Love album, says Dave. That is badass. Ozzy, Blizzard of Oz, says Thomas. We call that the paw of possession. Yeah, exactly. Give me that. She's like, no. Yeah, the paw of possession. Exactly. Bought my first one last year, Appetite for Destruction, 15 records and counting, says Andrew. I love that people are just getting into records now, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's see. We talked about the podcast. We talked about the podcast outlets. We, once again, I know Jeff was 55 today, but BB King, Richard Marx, Dave the Snake Sabo from Skid Row, Flo Rida, and Nick Jonas all celebrating birthdays today. I do want to put in a plug for the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass. I also want to thank everybody that already has them. It's a little bit backstage access into my life. And with everything going on and so much more on the horizon, there's so much more that's coming with the Backstage Pass. So this week, I want to thank Mark, Tom, Eric, Jeff, Sharon, Larkin, and Mike for all getting their Mistress Carrie Backstage Passes, which you can get at patreon.com/Mistress Carrie. When we get to Backstage Pass number 100, there is going to be an awesome Mistress Carrie prize pack that goes to whoever gets Backstage Pass number 100. So just go to patreon.com. If you're not really familiar with Patreon, it's super easy. You can download the app, go to the website. And what it does is it allows you to have more access to people and shows and music and artists that you love. I know a lot of bands are using it right now as a way to generate exclusive content and to keep in touch with their fans. and they're doing, guitar playing tutorials. I know the guys from Bad Wolves are always on there, and there's so many other bands that are using Patreon to be able to generate all kinds of, exclusive content. I'm going to be using it a lot as we move forward with a lot of the expansions of the podcast. It's also a place that I'm going to be using as a beta tester and really seeking the advice and counsel of the people with the backstage pass when it comes to suggestions for Mistress Carrie merchandise. I mean, we're always going to talk about this stuff here in the War Room as well, but I'm always posting extra stuff, exclusive photos, updates on what's going on with me. Whenever I'm traveling, I always try to find stuff to post about when I'm traveling. So if you do not have your Mistress Carrie backstage pass, you can get it at patreon.com/Mistress Carrie. And like I said, backstage pass number 100 is going to come with a big Mistress Carrie prize pack. I'm going to stick a lot of really cool stuff in there. So if you haven't gotten it yet, you can get it now. And you can also find me on social at all of these places. I know Wednesday. I will plug your Instagram again as well. You can find me on Twitter at Mistress Carrie, on Facebook, obviously, where we are right now, and Instagram at Mistress Carrie WAAF, and on YouTube, Patreon, Cameo, and TikTok. I know I haven't posted there yet. At Mistress Carrie on that as well. So for anybody that watches Cocktails in the War Room on my YouTube channel, we got to thank all of those people. Did you guys hear that Facebook is really cracking down when it comes to the live performances that a lot of artists have been doing? And they've been getting tipped on like Venmo and the Cash App and stuff like that to try and make ends meet. And because of the copyrighted material that they've been performing, Facebook is really starting to crack down on that kind of stuff. And so I think a lot of people are going to start using YouTube for a lot of these things as well. So that's why I started the YouTube channel, not only to be able to have another place for Cocktails in the War Room to be seen, but also moving forward, I'm hoping to add a video component to the podcast as well. And when I do that, you'll be able to access that on YouTube. So that's all the places that you can find me online. Hold on, she's being way too cute. Look at her. Wednesday, you're such a nugget. What are you doing? Can you say hi to everybody? Look up here. Yeah, exactly. She's like, just hold your hand still. Jen says, I tried to sign up, but it won't take my card. That's really strange, Jen. Do you have some kind of a restriction on your card maybe or something? Kevin says, my aunt pulled through all of her surgeries. Thank you guys for all of the well wishes. Love you all, says Kevin. Well, that's what's great about the War Room is that it's just a huge support group for everybody. John says Facebook has cut a lot of live stuff when it detects music playing in the background or over licensing fees, which is why having my intro music be a gift from Sully from Godsmack is pretty awesome, because they can't say that it's not mine, because it is. Okay, Wednesday, I'll put the split screen on. There, how's that? Can you guys hear her? You're really getting into that, huh? It's like this bone is... Can you sit down? Sit. Can I have your paw? Thank you. Can I have your other... I want the other one. Thank you. Can I have a high five? High five. Sit. Other one. Good girl. Spoiled rotten dog. I mean, I guess I should give her extra screen time because the show is on a Wednesday tonight. So, Wednesday, this show's for you. Does your dog do that too? Stick their butt in the air when they chew? And just when I say it, she puts her butt down. She's happy mom is home, says Kathy. Pug grunt, says David. Wednesday rules, says Terrence. Paula says she is so awesome. Let's see. Has Facebook ever tried to contact you about proof that you own the intro? Not yet. Maybe it's because it's all over the podcast, or I don't know, but no, so far they haven't. But they can just ask Sully. I got the text messages to prove it. So whatever. Yeah, Donna's good girl. See you Wednesday. You're such a good girl. You give good high fives. Wednesday, now adorable as always. Oh, my shirt. So I wore this shirt. Hold on, I'm going to have to move it for you. I wore this shirt for all the people that ran the virtual Boston Marathon this week. So the BAA sent out packs, as did the Tough Ruck. And people went out and ran their own marathons, and they gave them little things to take selfies and whatever. So this is the 6 stages of marathon running. And it says, let's do this. Why am I doing this? Am I dead? I wish I was dead. I'm dead and can't wait to race again. So yeah, it's kind of like that. Although I have not gotten to phase 6, which is I can't wait to do it again because I'm definitely one and done retired. But I wanted to show some support for all of the people that ran the virtual marathon and did the virtual Tough Ruck this week, because when the War Room, first got started and we were talking about, hey guys, just keep your training up and we're all going to be there lining the streets for you in September. And this was supposed to be the week that they ran the marathon after they postponed it from Marathon Monday, and they just couldn't pull it off. And so I know it wasn't the same experience that I think they were all kind of hoping for, but I just wanted to send all kinds of love out to all of the runners and all of the ruckers, because I know how hard you train and how heartbreaking it is to not cross that finish line and not have all of your friends and family there to cheer you on. And, we just got to do what we got to do and train for next year. That's all you can do, is just get ready to go next year. So if it isn't in the database, they can compare it to the licensed music and they can't shut it down. Original content is not in the database. Well, there you go, John. A Pug of the Year, says Nick. Wednesday should have her own calendar, says Ron. Trust me, it's been suggested, and there's a lot of stuff that has been suggested for her. So we'll figure it out. Right now, just managing her Instagram is enough, which, by the way, is Wednesday the Goth Pug on Instagram if you want to find her. What do you think, Wednesday? Boop. Boop. No, she just wants to eat the bone. I guess I could just get up and walk away, I guess. She'll probably sit there for a few hours if you guys want to watch her eat her bone. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm just kidding. But this is literally what she does for hours sometimes. She just gnaws on that bone. It's got to feel good on her teeth. I don't know. Melanie says, sign up for 3 races in September and October, thinking that this would be done. All are virtual now. That sucks. Wednesday, you need to move to the left. You mean this way? That's technically the right, but. I don't know. I'm not even talking anymore because now all I'm doing is sitting here playing with her too. It's ridiculous. See, that's the butt thing I was talking about. Do your dogs do that too? Where she hunches down in the front to get on the bone, but sticks her butt in the air? Why do they do that? It's so weird. It's like, hey, look at my butt. And I don't want to spend all kinds of time looking at her ass, but she sticks it in the air in your face. How can you not? See, there you go. And as soon as I talk about it, she puts it down. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. So don't forget, if you have not listened to episode 15 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, episode 15 is up right now, featuring producer Mike Saya from the AAF to Afghanistan trip that we were on 9 years ago right now. Jen says, Yoda does that. I keep telling my 2 to get a job. Carrie, any comment on Entercom nationalizing their alt music operations? One size fits all. No, I mean, it's not even just Entercom. There's so many companies that are centralizing all of that. Top 40 stations have been doing that for years. And it bums me out because I think that, we used to take so much pride at WAF that all of the music was picked locally. And we picked it because we thought that we knew our audience better than anybody else could, especially somebody that was outside of the market. And it's just really, it's really strange. Having been out of radio now for almost 8 months, it's like, it's so hard for me to imagine. We were talking about this podcast episode that I was in Afghanistan 9 years ago. Mike and I even talk about the fact that, 7 months ago, we were sending WAF off into the sunset, and it doesn't seem possible that it's been that long. And, I just am such a believer in radio as a medium. I'm such a believer in the connection with the audience, and that it really does have a place. And I would love to go back working in radio in some way, shape, or form. However, being able to do things like the War Room and produce my own podcast and be able to launch my own website really soon and have all of my own merch and all of this stuff is super exciting. But I really miss radio. I was listening to Mike Shue, and it's like, oh my God, he's back on the radio. And so I don't know. I mean, they're not my companies, and so they're making decisions based on what they think they need to do. I just hope that the people that are making the decisions in the corner offices remember that at the end of the day, what makes radio special is the instant live connection between the station and its staff and the audience. And it's something that's shared, and it's something that movies and television and even live streaming, maybe something like this because it's so live and interactive, but otherwise radio is kind of the only medium that can have that connection. And, I just hate to see radio lose that, because I think now more than ever, personal connection is so important for all of us. Are you still going to do the big gig? The big gig is happening in April, and Mike Shue and I have already been committed to being there. So yeah. Eric says, trust me, I miss 107.3 on my preset. Join Sirius XM. You'd be perfect, says Nick. These are all things that I look forward to pursuing. Now that MCHQ is basically done, I have the ability to kind of do whatever I want in there. And I could do radio shows in there. Obviously, I do the podcast every week in there. To be able to do voice work, I always thought about maybe starting to do voice work for animation, animated series or animated movies or something. I thought would be really cool. So I can basically do whatever I want in there, and I look forward to whatever opportunities come my way. Windows are open. The wind's blowing. Just scared the shit out of Wednesday. So we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, it bums me out when I hear that, people's jobs are being lost, and that they're centralizing things that, I used to love to do just for the audience here in Boston. So Eric says, I miss all of the chances to win tickets on AAF. Yeah. Glad all is well. See you next week. Live connection is where it's at. Best of luck to you. Oh, all right. Wednesday. One more time. I'm going to turn your camera on. Okay. Say hi to everybody. Say hi up here. Say hi, everybody. All right, guys. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Yes, Cocktails in the War Room goes back to its regularly scheduled time and place. Thank you guys for all the understanding about postponing it for the day. And thanks for all the love when it comes to the podcast episodes. I'm so glad that you're loving them and that you're sharing them. And of course, thanks to everybody in the 86 countries that have been checking it out, which is amazing. So do your geography homework. Let's find some people in those grayed out countries and get them on board with the Mistress Carrie podcast. And one more plug for the Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass. It's available on Patreon, patreon.com/Mistress Carrie. And hopefully next week I'll have that announcement about the expansion of the Mistress Carrie podcast, which I am super excited about. So I'll see you guys later. Say bye, Wednesday. Say bye.